Your body holds secret tremors, and each one is a healing code. Picture yourself lying in silence when, suddenly, an involuntary movement runs through your muscles, as if something inside is trying to break free. The mind can't quite name it, but the feeling is clear. It's not random. These tremors arise because there are silent traumas the mind chose to suppress. But they remain trapped in you like invisible armor. These are marks that don't show up in conscious memory, but they vibrate deep within your structure. Few people know that there are 5 specific tremors that emerge in these moments, each with a precise function to dissolve memories the mind couldn't handle. Recognizing these tremors is like decoding the secret map your body drew to set itself free. And understanding this map can mean the difference between staying stuck and stepping into a path that transforms heaviness into presence. Because pain carries healing, but only when you learn to listen to it. Here's the secret. The spontaneous tremors that rise up in you are not weakness. They appear as vibrational portals designed to release trauma the mind kept silent. When the vibration erupts, it's not by chance, and it's not a loss of control. It's somatic intelligence creating a path from within. In this video, you'll recognize 5 specific tremors that follow a precise pattern. Each one will have a name, a signal, and a release effect that you can feel. You'll see where each one tends to begin, how it spreads, and when it naturally comes to an end. The goal is not to force anything. It's to create space for what needs to happen. You'll learn the posture, the surrender, and the kind of environment that supports a safe release. You'll understand why interrupting the wave extends the pain, and why allowing it speeds up the healing. The first tremor brings breath back and unlocks the respiratory center. The second crosses the chest and clears space for what once weighed heavy without a name. The third invites the retreat needed for emotions that never found a way out. The fourth releases the throat and gives voice to what was trapped inside. The fifth sinks the torso and legs and brings balance back to your steps. Nothing here is too theoretical for real life. These are visceral manifestations anyone can feel when they surrender to the vibration. You'll have simple markers to know when to move forward and when to pause. You'll have discrete anchor phrases to help you stay present while the vibration works. You'll have a sealing gesture to safely and respectfully close the process. The focus is clarity, precision, and practice. No noise, no confusion. What once seemed random becomes a reliable map within you. As you move through this map, tension becomes passage, and fear becomes presence. If you stay with it until the end, you'll understand how each tremor acts as a release key. Because pain carries healing when you learn to listen without blocking. Throughout history, Hermetic traditions and mystery schools described the body as a temple protected by invisible seals, each one storing hidden forces that needed to be released for life to flow fully. The diaphragm was seen as the hidden fire that ignited the vital breath, the chest as the altar of the heart, and the neck as the gateway of speech. These points would vibrate and tremble as the initiate passed through moments of transformation, signaling that inner armor was being dissolved. Far from being a sign of weakness, the tremor was understood as a mark of initiation. This knowledge, forgotten for centuries, now returns through the door of modern science. David Berceli, creator of the Trey method, revealed that spontaneous tremors are not dysfunctions, but precise biological responses that release deep tension stored in the nervous system. What ancient masters called seals. The polyvagal theory of Stephen Porges describes as incomplete defense circuits, circuits that close when the body finds safety and space to vibrate. Peter Levine showed that releasing these interrupted defenses is what allows true emotional reorganization. Bessel van der Kolk demonstrated that the body stores trauma as somatic memory, often inaccessible to the rational mind. Robert Schleip and the studies on fascia prove that this tissue responds to emotional states, storing tension and releasing it in vibrational waves. Dan Siegel emphasized that it is this integration between body and mind, when the nervous system finds coherence, that brings the human being back into full presence. The bridge between mystery and science becomes undeniable when the body trembles. It fulfills both the ancient prophecy of opening the seals and the biological process of completing unfinished defenses. Tremor is passage, a key that dissolves silence, reorganizes life, and restores unity. The 5 tremors you're about to discover were not invented as techniques. They are not exercises created by the mind, and they don't need to be forced to happen. They rise from within, spontaneously, when the body reaches a minimal state of safety and permission. Their purpose is not to control or induce mechanical movements, but to create the necessary space for somatic intelligence to reveal what is ready to be released. Instead of thinking in terms of training or practice, think of a ritual of surrender, a simple posture, a quiet environment, and a body that, free from constant surveillance, begins to speak in its own language. The first tremor manifests in the diaphragm, bringing an unexpected side-to-side rolling movement. It appears when the breath finds room to expand and release the tension that built up in the solar plexus. Effortlessly, you may notice your body starting to move on its own, as if it wants to roll to one side and then the other. This rolling is not random. It is the release of the binds that block the vital center of your creative energy. In the Hermetic tradition, the solar plexus was called the spiritual stomach, the place where will takes root. When the diaphragm trembles and rolls, that knot begins to unravel, giving you a sense of relief and a return to your own center. It's as if the body opens a path for the flame of life to breathe again without weight. The second tremor shows up as a diagonal wave, moving from the back to the chest. This movement arises like a spiral, breaking through crossed armor between the back and the heart. Imagine tension that built up over years, held between the mid-back and the front of the chest, exactly where emotional defenses tend to settle. When the tremor arrives, that trapped energy begins to release in a diagonal vibration, connecting the back and chest in one continuous flow. In alchemical tradition, this movement was seen as the breaking of an inner shield that prevented the purity of the heart from expanding. Science, on the other hand, recognizes it as the release of the thoracic fascia and the relaxation of the intercostal muscles, allowing the body to feel and express deep emotions once again. This diagonal tremor is an invitation to let the heart beat freely again, without the armor that once held it captive. These first 2 tremors already make it clear this is not about arbitrary exercises, but vibrational codes that reveal the body's ancient wisdom. They are signs that your inner intelligence has found space to dissolve the trauma the mind tried to silence. The third tremor appears in the shoulders and arms, often guiding the body into a fetal position. It's not something planned or even conscious suddenly. The muscles begin to vibrate, the shoulders curl inward, and the body folds up as if trying to protect something precious. This posture brings up a primal memory of vulnerability, as if the body's ancestral wisdom remembers the universal gesture of suppressed crying. When this tremor occurs, what opens up is not just a physical movement, but an emotional portal. Many people describe tears coming effortlessly, along with a deep sense of relief, as if an old part of themselves, one that never had permission to be heard, finally found its voice through the vibration. In mystical traditions, the fetal position was seen as a return to the cosmic womb, the place of origin where all defense can dissolve. Science recognizes this state as the release of the trapezius and pectoral muscles, areas where repressed emotions often crystallize into chronic tension. Allowing this tremor to express itself is allowing the body to complete long-held cycles of pain, giving the heart the chance to open once again. The fourth tremor takes place in the cervical and cranial regions. It is a subtle vibration, almost imperceptible at first, that begins at the base of the throat and extends upward toward the head. Many are surprised when they feel this tremor, because they don't expect the neck and voice to vibrate on their own. This movement represents the breaking of an invisible seal, the blockage of expression. The throat is a vibrational portal, and when it trembles, it begins to dissolve the armor that was preventing the voice from flowing. In Hermetic teachings, this region was called the portal of the word, the place where speech becomes creation. When the tremor happens, the energy repressed in the act of holding back, swallowing, or silencing begins to release. Many report spontaneous sounds or a sudden sense that they could finally speak what was never spoken. Neuroscience describes this same process as a reset of the vagus nerve and the cervical fascia, which restores fluidity to both breathing and communication. What might seem like a subtle tremor is actually the unlocking of an ancient key, the release of the voice as a path to healing. Together, the shoulder fetal and cervical cranial tremors show that the body is not only releasing tension, it is reopening pathways for emotional expression and authentic communication, dissolving silences the mind kept for years. The fifth tremor is the one that marks the integration of the entire process. The torso and legs vibrate in sync, as if the whole body is finally breathing as one. This vibration is not localized or partial. It is a wave that moves through the entire being from the ground up, connecting root and expansion. Many describe this experience as a new sensation of wholeness, where fragmentation and isolation no longer exist. What once felt divided, the mind in one place, the heart in another, and the legs trapped in invisible tension, now moves in coherence. The whole body becomes one breath, one continuous flow. This tremor is a sign that the defense cycle has been completed and the energy that was once trapped has been reorganized. In ancient understanding, this is the moment when the inner temple reopens, because the vibration passes through the three main centers, the base, the heart, and the voice. Hermeticists called this state the return to the axis, the point at which opposing forces stop clashing and begin to cooperate. In the language of neuroscience, this tremor represents an integrated discharge of the nervous system, where autonomic coherence is established. The body is no longer reacting to threat, it is self-regulating in fullness. It is as if biology is confirming what the ancients already knew. Unity is not a concept, it is a tangible somatic experience. After this point, the body naturally seeks rest. The tremor fades, the breath deepens, and a silence arises, not as absence, but as full presence. This rest should not be interrupted or controlled, because it marks the phase of integration, the moment when the body completes the cycle without the mind's interference. It's in this space of stillness that neural connections reorganize. The emotional field softens, and the fascia finds a new balance. More than rest, it is an internal consecration. The body becomes still because it has completed its journey. Allowing this final silence is recognizing that it's not us who end the process, but the somatic intelligence that guides it. When we embrace rest as an essential part, what remains is not emptiness, but a deep sense of completeness, as if the body had written the final sentence of a long story through vibration. the fifth tremor, and the integration that follows it are living proof that pain, when allowed to vibrate, transforms into healing. Grayson had always carried a strange sensation in his body. On nights when the silence felt heavier, an involuntary vibration would rise in his legs or chest. He didn't understand it, and often tried to suppress the movement, tensing his muscles even more. He believed it was a sign of weakness, maybe even something wrong, so he kept it a secret. Deep down, he was afraid of losing control in the face of something he couldn't name. Over time, he noticed that the more he repressed the tremors, the more his body locked up in invisible armor. There were nights when his breath became shallow, his chest rigid, and his throat seemed to hold a knot that wouldn't dissolve. Until one day, during a meditative practice, Grayson chose not to resist the vibration. He stayed present, allowing the movement to spread freely. What happened next changed his relationship with his body. The tremors began in the diaphragm, then moved diagonally through the chest, up into the shoulders and the base of the skull. He felt as though each part was holding old memories, memories that were finally being released. There were tears, not rational tears, but a release that seemed to come from generations past. His entire body vibrated as one until the movement gave way to a deep and peaceful rest. In that moment, Grayson understood. The tremors weren't enemies, they were language. They weren't illness, they were healing in motion. The experience brought not just calm, but a new sense of unity, as if his body and mind were breathing together for the first time. From that point on, he never again saw the vibration as a threat. He began to recognize it as a code of release, a silent signal that pain was transforming into passage. What happens in each person who chooses to welcome the secret tremors instead of blocking them is simple. Relief doesn't come from control, but from the permission to let pain vibrate until it turns into healing. The most challenging moment isn't when the tremor begins, it's when it intensifies, and you feel that something greater than your will is taking the lead. That's when many people pull back. The fear doesn't come from the movement itself, but from the silent invitation it brings to cross into parts of memory that have been hidden. The mind fears losing its authority. It looks for shortcuts, tries to interrupt, invents reasons to stop. That's the real block, the belief that safety only exists in control. But the tremor is proof that there is a wiser force at work, acting in layers the mind can't reach. Transmuting this obstacle doesn't mean resisting, it means bowing to the process. When you allow the vibration without trying to manage it, you realize that there is no chaos unfolding. There is reorganization. The body finds coherence on its own, and the fear that once seemed overwhelming dissolves into stable presence. What remains after that passage is not the memory of 5 movements. It's the feeling of having touched something that has always been inside you. The silence between one tremor and the next is the space where life quietly reorganizes itself. You realize this isn't about learning new techniques. It's about allowing what already pulses in you to find its way through. The body has always known how to open these doors. It was just waiting to be heard without resistance. And it's in that moment that the logic of control dissolves. What once seemed like disorder reveals itself as a secret language, one that restores balance. The mind, once the guardian of silence, gives way to another kind of intelligence, older, deeper, more intimate. Traditions have always said that truth is not outside, it's written in the temple of your being. And science today is simply catching up, recognizing that each vibration rewires entire circuits of life. When the invisible meets the tangible, something greater is revealed. Bessel van der Kolk once said, Trauma is not just an event that happened in the past. It is also the imprint that experience left on the mind, the brain, and the body. What he didn't say, but what you've felt here, is that the same body also holds the key. And when that key is used, no prison can hold. This is not the end of a video. It's the beginning of a new kind of listening. A listening that doesn't require effort, but presence. That doesn't demand understanding, but trust. That doesn't search for answers outside, because it knows everything is already written within. From here on, every vibration that rises in you won't be seen as noise, but as a signal that something is opening, something is realigning, something is being set free. And perhaps the greatest discovery is this: when the body trembles, it's not fear, it's memory crossing the final portal. It's life reclaiming its place. It's you returning to yourself. True silence is not the absence of sound. It is the moment when pain vibrates and becomes freedom. If this content resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That helps us expand this field of knowledge even further. I'd really love to know how you experience the vibration of the 5 secret tremors in your own journey. Write in the comments, "The pain that vibrates in me becomes healing." That statement seals your presence on the path of living awareness. Share this video with someone you know who needs to remember the power that lives in the hidden movements of the body. And don't stop here. Click on the screen and dive into another transformative video from the channel. Each new step on this path expands your presence in the reality you were born to manifest. Remember, when pain vibrates, silence breaks, and life finds its way through.